Hello, beautiful stars. Hello, hello, hello. This is another Edgar Cayce life skills study. I am the host, Courtney, of Stars of the Morning Light. Edgar Cayce life skills study is normally on Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. As I make sure I get everything kind of rolling here. How is everybody? Yeah, what an interesting time we live in. What an interesting week it's been. I do want to state now that I don't believe I'm going to be here Friday. Normally, I am live on Friday for well, it used to be Toth. Now it's just kind of whatever higher consciousness that's we're speaking about and other texts, right? Um, I don't believe I'll be here Friday. I'm actually going to give myself that time and space because Saturday I'm teaching a very long workshop. That for some reason it's getting hard to find the supplies that I need. Who knows why? So I might need that day to make sure I have everything for my students, if that makes sense. So, Edgar Cayce, we left off in his biography. Today we are going back to Edgar Cayce, The Secrets of the Universe and How to Use Them. I've had this book for a very long time. Clearly, it is an old, beat up copy. I am finding out that it's hard for people to get Edgar Cayce books without spending a fortune on them. I'm hearing this through the grapevine. I just heard that even this book, to get this copy, um, is usually going to cost you about $45. So here's the thing, folks. Go to usually all of your used bookstores, right? All of your used bookstores, they have some kind of metaphysical, spiritual, esoteric world religions area. All of them. All of them would. Go there. The majority of what I have is from used bookstores. And because a lot of those people don't even know who Edgar Cayce is, those books might only cost 3, $4, opposed to now some of them are gonna be a bit more, right? Opposed to trying to find them online for $45. Try to get out to a used bookstore or your any thrift stores. Uh, they always have their book section because what often happens is somebody either gets a book from a loved one or they were really into it for a moment in time 20 years ago, right? So try that first before searching online because I'm hearing the price of things is significant when it comes to, and it is also that the Institute, right? Um, they they have an amazing library. I have not been there, but I hear of this library. Um, they are very protective over their stuff. So, yeah, Teresa just said she found some really good ones. And so, hello, Seeker. Hello, Teresa. Um, try that first. When a library has its, book sales, thrift stores, used book sales, or used bookstores, um, down here in the South, this is about to be the time of garage sales. So when you're at garage sales, go through the books. I was at a garage sale a few weeks ago. That woman had so many books. It was so hard for me. Um, so try it that way. It's going to be probably easier for you because I'm bringing this up because I've had people ask about the books. Where do I get them or and the ones I do have I've had for a long time and or I find them that way. Much easier, much cheaper. And guys, the message is all the same. The message is clearly all the same because Edgar passed away a long time ago, so the messages aren't changing, right? Uh, so we are back in our Secrets of the Universe and How to Use Them. We're going to start chapter 6. Let's pick a sacred geometry card though right now. Hello, Brandon. Good to see you. Um, Chapter 6, I'll read the title. I was supposed to prepare for this a little bit better, but this is a week of putting a lot of stuff together for my workshop I'm doing on Saturday. Most of you, I shouldn't say none, most of you have not taken a in-person class with me. I put a lot into the materials. I mean, I type up a lot of stuff. Speaking of which, on October 13th, 14th, and 15th, just that 3 days, I am going to do another big flash sale of my moon manifesting course, which I typed up 25 pages for. It's like a whole workbook. On top of 8 videos. That's like a hidden playlist here that I send to you. So that's going to be a flash sale for the moon manifesting class. Uh, it's over 8 or 9 hours of videos and 25 pages of material to go through. I mean, it is a full curriculum as to moon manifesting. So I'm going to do a flash sale October 13th, 14th, and 15th. I'll keep you posted about that. So yeah, guys, when I say I'm putting my materials together for my students, boy howdy, I'm, I'm making sure that nothing's not covered. Um, even my husband and most of my students will be like, your classes are so dense. But here's the thing, I don't ever leave anybody. I don't leave it. Yes, there's a lot said. There's a lot people can go through. Some stuff I say go through this, when we're done. Um, but I don't ever leave anyone. I'm always that accessible teacher. So, chapter 6, so you know, is the secrets of the soul's world. So before we begin that, I am going to pick a sacred geometry card for all of us. Good to see you, beloved. It's wonderful that you are here. Wonderful that you are here. And that moon manifesting course, because it's extensive, it's very extensive. It's, yes, mostly based on the moon, but it is also how to manifest. And it's 25 years of experience. When I started putting it together to teach, I was at my 25-year anniversary of working with the moon and manifesting. So, I mean, the information in there you're not going to find anywhere else. I can guarantee you. I've read all the books that are out there. You're not going to find it. All right, let's pick a card for everybody today. Man, my deck, it has been... Find a card for everybody. Okay. It has been wanting me to work. Okay. It has been wanting me to work this deck lately. If people don't know, all tarot decks, oracle decks, card decks. I used to play poker a lot growing up. Trust me, I knew how to do cards. They all are their own energy and sentient ways. They have their own personalities, and sometimes they want me to work for them instead of them work for me. Yeah. Everybody, we got number 23, dynamic. I know we've seen this before, but it's always perfect to pull out. Dynamic. The frequency of dynamic supports our ability to harmonize between layers and aspects of different origin and frequency. It helps us to put together a reality that is made up of many different elements, both familiar and completely new, with ease, grace, and great joy. I love this card, guys. Check that out. Check that out. So for any of my patrons that are watching right now, what does this remind you of? This is exactly what we're doing, guys. For those who are not patrons of Stars of the Morning Light, currently they are all learning how to use basically this right here, folks, to help each other manifest, to help each other heal, to help themselves manifest and heal. And this is then going to start carrying them into developing telepathic communication amongst each other. This right here, folks, is what we're covering um, with the Patreon class. It's that group, hands down, the willingness of those there to heal, grow, share, learn, develop their skills and talents and gifts is just amazing to see. And you guys can all join. Anybody can join. $8 a month. I actually teach there twice a month privately. They meditate. They chose to start meditating together on Sunday mornings together. Um, yeah, and I was so excited. Yes, go for it. I was waiting for that to happen. That was kind of my manifesting. Um, so they meditate together every Sunday morning. I teach there privately twice a month. There's always emails and exchanges. There's always it's actually a very lovely group. It's truly watching unity in live action. So thank you all for coming. I'm about to get into the book here. Drink your water, folks. Oh, this is about the time that I start reminding everybody that when the seasons start to change and it gets a little nicer outside, we tend to forget to drink water because we're not sweating and dying of the heat. Your body still needs the same amount of water, guys. So, and we do that. We start drinking our teas more. We might have more coffee because it's nice. You know, I drink your water, folks. We always forget. Everybody does. It's all right. My dog was just sneezing like crazy. You okay there, Samson? You good? Sorry, guys. His allergies have been crazy. All right, let's begin. This is, so there's a couple of quotes up here that I'm going to read. I just wanted to point those out to you, and then I will begin. So the first quote, "The grave is not the goal." And it just has 1792. Dash 2. I'm going to hold this up for you guys. I'm not... Look at that. 1792 dash 2. Dash all of the 2000s? Sorry. The next quote. Man is one name belonging to every nation upon the earth. In them all is one soul through many tongues. Every country has its own language, yet the subjects of which the untailored soul speaks are the same everywhere. And this is a philosopher. Wow. Guys, this is Latin names. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. Just know that that was somewhere from 106 to 240. Because it's land, I'm going to assume, well, it's close to land, I'm saying. They put it in land. That's got to be, they don't have AD or BC there, but that's got to be AD, so. I've never read that before. Stating, man is one name belonging to every nation upon the earth. We're going to get into this, guys. That's lovely. So, secrets of the soul's world. And yeah, I'm not going to try to read those names there, guys. One of them is Florence, so that's good. I'm not going to try to read those. Um, I don't do Latin. My sister studied Latin. My sister was the academic. It's so interesting. Growing up, she was the academic, and I was horrible at any education, and then roles reversed later in life. Not saying she's not smart, but after you have 5 kids, your mind's somewhere else. So, chapter 6, Secrets of the Soul's World. To the soul, there is no such thing as many lives, just one life lived through many experiences. Oh, guys, take that in this time of remembrance. To the soul, there's no such thing as many lives, just one life lived through many experiences. The secret world of the soul is the fascinating realm of the inter-between and borderlands and netherworld where phantasmic, shadowy, etheric, astral spirits wander among the Grateful Dead. Or the secret world of the soul is the fascinating realm of the inter-between, the borderlands, the netherworld, where each of us finds what's been built by the soul's mind. Guys, I'm going to have to go slow with this because if they're going into what I think they're going to be going into, I'm going to have to go slow with all of it and really break it down. The story of the soul's world told in Edgar Cayce's readings is your story and mine. It is a story you help to write. The story of your soul begins when you were thought of by the Creator. You began as a thought form in the Creator's mind. Picture a blue sky filled with millions of floating bubbles, twinkling rainbow colors sparkling in the sunlight. You are one of those beautiful bubbles, fragile but happy and free. But you couldn't stay in that form because you had something you needed to do. Eventually, you found yourself inside a human body because it's where some of the work gets done. But not all the work is done here because, for one thing, human bodies can't fly. And you can. I'm going to find a good breaking point, guys, because I do want to say I don't fly all the time, just for the sake of flying, you know. But when I do, and usually it's when, I'll tell you, if I'm meditating in water, that is an easy, I get to fly. Um, and or um, if other people are like doing Reiki on me or I'm receiving healing, eventually towards that I'm like, oh, I get to fly around. So that's fun. Um, your body is composed of atom atom energy particles visible to other souls and sometimes to humans. Humans see as filmy, whitish, translucent, and they're talking about disembodied spirits from around the shoulders. If they are not afraid to look very closely and if they hold very still so they don't disturb, the vibration, they also may see you as a ghost. Okay, so they're talking about auras or ghosts, disembodied beings. But the best thing about this body is that it is the temple of God, whether you're in the earth or in the borderlands, in the physical body or out. Another thing about getting the work done, human minds have so many distractions. Your real mind, the soul mind, uh, concentrates concentrates better, especially at night. When much of the earth chatter finally sleeps, you really can get busy, and you do. Okay, so there actually, I remember with this book, folks, I'm bringing us back to how this book is written, first of all. And I actually I have compassion towards this writer who she might not even be, Lynn Cochran. She might not even be alive anymore. This was written in 1989. What they had her do, and I'm sure she might have had some ghostwriters and some um, help, is they took all of Edgar's writings and tried to put them, let's say they, stacks. Let's just imagine, okay, this stack is about spirituality. This is about the soul. This is about reincarnation. This is about eating. This is about this. This is about relationships, husbands and wives, da 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 da. All different categories. And a lot of times they overlap. And it was her job to take all those categories and to try to condense them into this. So in my humble opinion, she just said a lot of stuff that was not thoroughly discussed or explained. So first she presented, right? She presented the idea that souls, okay, to the soul, there's no such thing as many lives, just one life lived through many experiences. So many of us here, we reference the many lives. I do, because it helps us put it into, to categorize it as ourselves, in this past life or that past life or all the past lives. But for the soul, it is very much a continuation. It is very much, this is how, when I clean people's timelines, and I've spoken about it on other videos, I imagine like a spiral. Imagine an old, for us older folks, an old phone cord, right? That is your lives. So imagine like one ring, okay, of that spiral, that's a life. And then the next ring, that's another life. And then another life. And then another, it continues. For the soul, does it know that there were different things that happened in different instances and different experiences? Yes, of course. But it's for them, for you, for your soul, it's a continuation of experiences. It's a continuation of sequences, events, moments. So that's what they're representing there. That for the soul, it doesn't really view it as a dynamic cut, or, I shouldn't use the word dynamic when we just use that card, but it doesn't mean life severed, chopped up, and just floating about. All of them are together. It's a sequence of that soul's journey. So even when we talk in this life of your soul's journey, that is in representation of all that came before and all that will come after. That was the first sentence of what was written here. So that's what I mean. Like, she had to pack a lot in there. They started talking about the in between, the borderlands, the netherworld. I'm gonna put that over here for right now, guys. I'm gonna put that over here because I want to see where they go with things. They brought up the ethereal, the astral. Um, a lot of that I'm gonna be discussing also with my patrons this Sunday. That's one of our classes before we go further into the telepathic aspect. Um, if that goes into this, that might be where I have to stop today and then return to it next time, because that is a very big discussion. So, oh, Abstract just asked a really good question. Where is the soul when you were asleep? I believe they're going to go into that as I further read. I just wanted to make clarification. Um, there's a lot of different thoughts about that as well, so I'm wondering what this is going to say. Um, So thank you for asking, beloved. Um, but I did want to say, hey, first, I I wanted to iterate about you came from the Creator. Your soul that is now in this body of form, right? This body of form started as a thought form. They put it as these little bubbles, floating around. I say, you beautiful stars. We just all might say different things. I call you all the most beautiful stars ever, shining brightly. That's for me. That's how I reference it. First, a thought form of the love of the Creator that said, yes, yes, you're great and wonderful. That's where lines of you were perfectly made. It might not be if you have any deformities or anything wrong with this body and form. Doesn't mean you weren't perfectly made, because the original you is completely perfectly made, joyful, happy, perfect. And then you had a job to do, right? They talk a lot about we have jobs to do. And remember, Edgar in this book, right, talked about having a job here on this earth is your ticket in, is your ticket to, yep, I'm going there. Put me on the earth train. I'm going on. That's your ticket. Now, how to find that is a little bit different, right? But we all have something as to why we're here. And I will tell you guys, for my personal opinion, as of right now, the time that we're living in, the reason why you're here is very, very closely related to why you came in the first place. Long, 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 many life cycles ago. The continuation of your story, of your soul's journey from beginning to end, right now we're being presented as to, why did I come here in the first place? It's kind of coming full circle in many ways. So let's find out about this Earth's work. Another thing about getting the work done, human minds have so many distractions. Your real mind, the soul mind, concentrates better, especially at night when much of the earth chatter finally sleeps. You really can get busy, and you do. In fact, anytime you can get the I'm going to hold this up. My lighting's not that great today. Sorry, guys. It's very cloudy outside. In fact, anytime you get the big mouse, the conscious and the subconscious minds to be quiet long enough to listen, you transmit instructions for carrying out your work. They don't obey orders well, but you do the best you can. These other two levels of mind come with the territory of Earth. I will break this down, folks. You like it better out in the borderlands where it's just you and God, the two of you, talking things over, checking out your progress, making minor course corrections. You like it when the human body you're in learns to meditate because it gives you a chance to communicate, but you aren't stinging in your communication. That's a weird line. You begin to speak to your human comrade as soon as he and she develops a conscious. Okay, this is so. It's conscious that makes him or her curious about you. Your presence is sensed long before it's known who you are. Often you are discovered accidentally, such as in the instance between the moment it is known a catastrophic is about to happen and it happens. In that instance, the conscious and subconscious mind freeze, become paralyzed, and can't think. That's when you may jump in just in the nick of time to avert disaster. You like to help out that way. After all, if your human gets itself killed, You have to start over, and it's inconvenient. You have to do so much. Holy crap, she is cramming so much in. Sorry, folks, I really do have to step in here. It's as if by this time in here, she just gave up trying to write this and just took a bunch of his words and slammed them together. So, beloved, I'm going to go to you, darling, because you asked, what does your soul do when you're sleeping? Kind of all depends on who you are. I know that sounds odd, but it does depend. This is why you get people that have like that do fly in their dreams. You get people that also might unfortunately go to the astral plane, or they might go to other parallel worlds. There are people that actually their soul does more of like what is called dream jumping. So it's kind of hard to answer a strict this is what you do when you sleep, because it depends on the person, their gifts, and also what they're open to, and or what they're ready to experience. What I can tell you though, folks, because I do know a lot about the conscious and the subconscious and what she's trying to say here, my lord. Oh, this book is rough to get through. Not all of them are like this, but man. Um, I can tell she had no idea what she was writing here. She was just trying to get the work out. So what she's saying is you have a consciousness and you have a subconsciousness, right? And you have a soul. All three of them they're different aspects that are also a part of your body and form. She's trying to say your subconscious and your consciousness are more directly attached to this body of ours, right? That's why we don't remember our past lives, because the consciousness that we have right now, that is that we cap ourselves off at with the 3D density because it's heavy, um just thinks of this life, just only knows this life, when it can expand and know many lives. The subconscious also knows all the lives and knows the life that's going on here. I will tell you, I know, and this has definitely been proven, okay? The subconscious, especially when we're sleeping, and when she said that you do most of your work when you're dreaming, I'm going to go back to the communicating, okay, and the slash meditating she was talking about. Because meditating is communicating, magic is communicating. We'll go back to that. She presented like 20 things all at once, so I'm trying to be like, okay, how do I sum this up? Um, when you're sleeping, though, I will tell you, your subconscious. So, as we've talked about before, we take in so much subliminal messages, so many, through the screen you're looking at, definitely through television, through when you're driving down one of those main strips that has all of the stores. That is all subliminal messaging that you may not be aware of, that you're actually taking in, because we've seen it a million times, right? All of it. There's so much. So from what we hear, what we see, all of it, all of it, okay? That we're conscious of taking in or not. That actually does, all of it goes to our subconscious. Our poor subconscious, but our subconscious is this vast, huge, it's as big as the universe, right? It holds that stuff. And while we're sleeping, the subconscious, many times over, that's why we get such wild dreams or weird dreams, or we feel like we're not dreaming at all. But what it's doing is the subconscious is really going through and throwing out all the garbage. That's the majority of what is happening when we sleep with the subconscious. The consciousness is still working, but that's what they're somewhat talking about, the communication aspect. Because let's say the soul does depart and goes and travels, right? Goes and travels, which some, like myself, do that, can also do that in meditation. So let's say the soul then travels and it's communicating with other things. It's doing this and that. It is still connected, your soul, even if it's left and it's going and hanging out other places, it is still connected to the consciousness that is in this body of form. So your consciousness is still awake, activated, going on while you're sleeping. It's actually also using that time. So when, let's say, the soul is getting information, right? The soul is doing its part in sleep and or meditation, and it's getting all this information. It's immediately going back to the consciousness, and the consciousness is going, okay, I can't forget this one. Let's do this. Okay, that's how we're going to make, that's how it's going to look when we actually apply what they're saying, right? So there's actually a few different parts as to, and I can't say for, and, everybody has a different experience as to um, what their soul does when they sleep. I will tell you guys, I now, because I do all my traveling and my meditations. Um, when I sleep, I requested a long time ago that I don't really go nowhere. I don't want to. I don't want to. I'm good. I'm good. I can tell when I do when I wake up, but I'm good. I'm also the type of person that I barely remember my dreams, and when I fall asleep, I am knocked out hard. Very, but it takes a lot for me to fall asleep. That's the problem. But once it happens, I am knocked out. I have no idea what's going on, that sort of thing. Um, and I allow that, and I love it because I know my consciousness, my subconsciousness, everything is working for my better good. And that's what she was trying to say, that when you sleep, you're actually doing a lot of your work. Now, going back to, gosh, she brought up a lot of things. She brought up a lot of things. Oh, Beloved asked, there is no one to be conscious in sleep because there is no ego in sleep. Oh, the ego's still awake, I believe. When we sleep, the ego doesn't. Yeah, and Seeker asked, okay, hold on. Uh, and then Beloved said, there is no consciousness in sleep because there is no ego in sleep. Um, um, and then Seeker said, is that the reason I don't remember my dreams? When I meditate, I see all things. It might be. I personally, I mean, I like using sleep for sleep to let them do work. I don't need to be a part of it. Um, so it might be that. It might be that, Shelley. Um, Beloved. So for Beloved's comment, I'm going to speak on that for everybody in the chat. And thank you for coming. I think I saw Robert come in. Anne's here. Oh, Anne, it's good to see you. Um, okay, Beloved just said there is only ego in waking and dreaming state, not in sleep state. So so Beloved, you're taking sleep state and dream state and separating the two. So that's where I was going to go with it. So he answered where I was going to go with things. For those who might not know, and I love having Beloved here, um, Beloved, you attach the consciousness to the ego, right? Because you say that that is the human element, right? Um, in your words. And you can write them in the chat as far as your words. Um, so for me personally, I do know the ego is, well, the ego to me is awake um, during sleep. Same as how, like, the consciousness is awake, but it's doing what it's supposed to be doing. You know what I mean? Like, so right now, my consciousness is speaking to you, right? Right now, I'm consciously thinking of the words that are going to come out of my mouth and I'm presenting them. Same as my ego is present, right? My ego is present, wanting to communicate. Same as that, right? Um, in dream state though and sleep state, it's different. It is where um, it's a different process of consciousness, if that makes sense. It's a different It's doing what its job that's supposed to be done for the ego and consciousness. Even if you see them as one, it's a different system. It's a different operating system. Like imagine, I guess that's the way I could put it is, so when you're on your computer typing and doing what you do and get, connecting everything and making things happen, that would be your waking around conscious state. Now, when you go to refresh, restart, reboot your computer, we don't know what it's doing. I mean, some people know what it's doing. I don't know what my computer is doing when it's doing that. I don't know what it's doing when it's actually downloading stuff. I don't know how many parts and movements and sequences of that needs to happen for it to do its job. That's kind of the difference. Is like during our waking, we know what, at least in my opinion, that it's we know what we're doing, and then in dream and sleep and all that jazz, we allow it to do its job, kind of like a computer. I guess that's the best example I could use for that. She said something else though. She said some other stuff. She put a lot into this, guys. She put a lot in here. Um, oh, okay. This is what I wanted to touch upon. You begin to speak to your human comrade as soon as he or she develops a conscious. It's conscious that makes him or her curious about you. Your presence is sensed long before it's known who you are. Often you are discovered accidentally, such as in an instance between the moment it is known a catastrophic is about to happen and it happens. Okay, remember she was comparing something that I will explain to the moment between catastrophic things. In that instance, the conscious and subconscious minds freeze, become paralyzed, and can't think. That's when you may jump in just in the nick of time to avert disaster. You like to help out that way. After all, if your human gets itself killed, you have to start over, and it's inconvenient. You have so much to do. That was horribly written for her to say. First, she said, you have this human form. So you have a human consciousness, a soul consciousness. But then she did refer to it as presence. So I'm going to go back to that in a minute. And then you have your subconscious. And then, so before I even go back to that, that whole idea of the between something bad happening, like the moment you realize something bad's going to happen before it happens, that split second, and we really just react as humans. We react to jump out of the way of a moving vehicle or whatever it may be, right? We react in that moment because we're human, and that's a big part of the ego. God bless the ego for that. Really, God bless, because that is what's doing that in that moment. Thank God for the ego. Because she's saying that the subconscious and the conscious mind kind of freeze in that moment. And we all know that quick, but we still react. That is because of the ego. So God bless the ego. It is a part of the system, guys. It is a part of the system. And it's up to you how much, right? So, um, prior to though her saying that, she put in there that your presence was already known before it even entered this body of form and conscious, the conscious attached to the body. I refer to that as your essence. So your soul, your soul actually has many experiences in this world, multiple, because you are a multi-dimensional being, I'm sure you are, multiple worlds, multiple dimensions, multiple, as lives, all this multi dimensional, interdimensional, long lasting, ever limitless being, right, is your soul. Well, because of that, there are things that I refer to as like your essence, right? Your essence. And Steiner talks about it this way as well, especially the essences of higher dimensional thinking, higher dimensional consciousness. Those are still attached to your soul, right? But they might not be exactly present to speak to right now, currently in 3D. So I refer to those as your essence. So kind of what she's talking about there of like, your presence was already noticed before it entered this body of form. I refer to that as the essence of you that is to be here now. She's trying to talk about that birth aspect or when it enters the body of form. So it's kind of that part's a little bit more tricky to discuss. Um, your soul is a complicated, beautiful being, light that has been everywhere and anywhere and will always be. So take all of that. Take your soul that is a part of the all. Take all of that and try to break it down. It's not the most easiest. So you do have essence out there. Like even when I mentioned when I cleaned people's timelines. So when I do, I go in there and I clean up all the gunk, all the negative energy that can be attached to our timelines from horrific, tragic events, usually based around how we die or what we tell ourselves when we're dying in different lives, right? I go in, I clean it up because all is energy, and if it doesn't need to be there any longer, then that negativity that seeps into the current life we're living doesn't need to be there, right? I go in and I clean it up. But you can't take away that universal law, cosmic law, however you want to see it, the law. You can't take something away without replacing it with something else, right? So I'll go in and I'll clean up all this. It's a lot of heavy lifting now, honestly, folks. It is one of the best ways to learn about your past lives, though. I go in and I clean it all up, but I'm actually one of your higher essences, your higher beings, right, is present. I call them in because it is not up to me, because I'm not you. It is not up to me to decide when I get rid of all the gunk and nasty and negativity what to replace it with. So usually everybody's higher essence will show, they will also guide me to where to go because I'm not going to choose what to clean up. So that essence will show me, clean this up. And then I get to see everything, and it's usually very horrific. Horrific. Because why would you clean up good? It's usually very horrific that I get to watch and see and know about. I clean it all up, and your higher essence is standing there going, yeah, I'm the labor. And then I ask them, what do we replace the negativity? What kind of light energy? What kind of symbol of of positive do you want to replace it with, right? Because you can't take something away without replacing it with something else. That goes for all things in the law. So just know that. Um, so you do have higher essences. Manly P. Hall talks about it a bit more, but I think Rudolf Steiner talks about it more so, in my opinion. Or maybe I just resonate more with how he says and talks about it and writes about it. Um, So do know that is also a part of your soul. So when we talk soul, complicated, folks. Complicated. And all that we really, us walking around, just living our lives, what we really need to remember and emphasize is that we were created. That we were created by the Creator as a beautiful thought of love. Of love. And we've had all these amazing opportunities of soul exploration and expression. It is an amazing process, an amazing. I mean, it's really an amazing gift. It's hard for us to imagine. Not. It's hard for us to imagine all that has not been made by the Creator because it doesn't exist, and we don't even know all the things that do exist, right? Could you imagine something that's not created by the Creator? I mean, that clearly we're loved. Clearly we're loved, right? Clearly. The Creator was like, oh, you're beautiful. Go on. Go on. Go to work. Go do something. It's wonderful. All right, let's get back to this crazy writings of I swear. I think this section she read a bunch of jumbled lines and put them together cuz wow. Yeah, by this time she was frustrated and is thinking, yeah, they ain't paying me enough for this. I'm sorry if she's still alive. I don't mean to be rude like that. It's just, yeah. Oh my goodness. That's how I would thought it too, especially if I had no help and there were stacks upon stacks upon stacks of over thousands of readings. I would have been like, you gotta be crazy. I ain't gonna do all this. All right, so let's keep going. Under Earth's nosy cir- Under Earth's nosy circumstances is a wonder anything ever gets done. You remember when things were quieter? In fact, you remember every relevant thing since the beginning, all your trips through Earth, whether you were a boy or a girl, or maybe you got mixed up a couple of times and didn't know which you were. They just wrote that in 1989. Or you got mixed up a couple of times and didn't know what you were. That is fine. You remember what made you happy or sad, angry or fearful, whether you whether what you did was useful in your real work or was a real bust as in incarnations go. You remember if you die in some significant way or merely fade into oblivion like a rose whose time was spent. Your soul mind records descriptions of the environments it has experienced. Every place you've been since you were created is part of what you are today. That I do want you guys to hear. Every place you've been since you were created is part of what you are today. That's why it pains my heart when I hear a lot of limiting and fearful dialogue out of humans. It pains my heart so much because this is very true. Every place you've ever been since you were created is part of what you are today. We know how to handle all things. We are the all. We are part of the all. Not quite like an old diary, these remembrances may be read by your consciousness mind if it by your conscious mind if it can tune into where your soul mind shares the records. in between time and space. There is a need to know quality about these records. The soul mind doesn't tell the conscious mind everything. It all depends on the desires and purposes of your soul mind and whether revealing the information would be helpful in getting on with the work. She's about to say getting on with the work. So I do want to pause with that. So that's what I was referencing, folks, is many people, this is why we grow up thinking that this is our only life and that what we obtain in this life is what we obtain, right? This is what we know. And this is what we experience. And then we go to either wherever we go, right? That this is the one way, this is the one ticket we got. She is trying to say that's not at all true for what they believe. That every single place that you have ever experienced, place, people, actions, circumstances, thoughts, patterns, whatever it may be, all of it is within your soul mind. So your soul holds all that stuff. Your soul remembers from the moment you were being created. The moment you chose to be like, yep, I got a job to do there. Yep, I gotta go there. And it could be cycles away. You could have been here when the earth has destroyed itself many times over. Who knows how long you've been coming back, right? Your soul does know that. It knows all of it. Because it's just a continuation. It's just a continuation. Same old day, right? Just a continuation. It's this conscious mind in us. It's so interesting to me that everybody wants to, especially science wants to say that the frontal lobe is where the soul is. It's fascinating that they want to try to break that or say that. That's why they used to do lobotomies. The frontal lobe, it does hold the feeling of the meaning of things. It's where we form our personalities and our feelings and who we are in this life, but it is not the entirety of the soul. It's not, and it's fascinating how science has not worked that one out yet. But the two can work together, right? The subconscious is just massive. The subconscious is just massive, huge, taking it all in. The subconscious can also pull from everybody's stuff. I mean, the subconscious is really the all in so many lack of words, right? But your soul mind that's holding all the memories, all the remembrance, the remembering of who you actually are. And then the human experience of today, of this experience, the soul kind of decides, okay, when do I reveal things? When do I let them know, or do I not? Because I know that they need to actually walk through this. I know they have to learn this. I know that this has to happen here. I know that they need to start choosing love over fear. I mean, the soul is really kind of making the choices depending on what's happening in our circumstances around us. I mean, in our waking day, I'm with beloved. It is mostly, especially in today's world, it is mostly the ego. And especially in those who have not healed, and I mean like drastically healed. Um, in today's world, it is egos talking to egos. It is ego making all the decisions, ruling over all things. It is the ego. The ego, and this is my opinion, can override any it can override enlightenment into higher consciousness, right? So in 3D is definitely egos. 3D is nothing but ego, really. Um, so it is really that your ego is mostly making your decisions and carrying out your actions and thought processes and your logic, right? It is really ego, and that's why it is. I mean, it's very clear why 3D is very full of polarity and duality and all this and that when it's, you know, something that is based on um, what should have been good, survival and helping us through the human experience is now kind of gotten a little bit dramatized. But and that's my opinion of it. So even with our take you could say it that way. You could see it as your consciousness and or your ego consciousness, right? The two. Um, your soul, your soul that remembers all things, your soul that remembers when you were a star, your soul that remembers like they said you were this beautiful bubble, the soul that remembers you might have been in many different planets, places, and different bodies of form, that soul might not feel that it's necessary to turn to the conscious and or ego and tell them things because eventually they have to choose. Eventually they have to choose. This is why meditation is good. This is why healing is good. This is why being grateful is good, right? We keep our egos really right sized when we're grateful. We really do. For all human race, all humanity, uh, gratitude can keep the ego and our higher consciousness working in tandem. It's very lovely. Um, so the soul chooses. And so I guess that's why with people like Edgar Cayce and myself, um, he struggled a lot, as we learn in his biography, to accept his gifts, to accept aspects of himself. Even when his higher soul, greater soul, that's done all sorts of living and being forever and ever, limitless soul, was nudging him, was saying, hey, this is what you can do. Hey, let's talk to this invisible being to everybody else over here. Let's do this. Let's do that. Let's do this. That soul knew at this time Edgar needs to do this for his job. This is Edgar's job this time. This is what he has to do this life. And so I have to keep nudging him. I have to keep messing with them. I keep having to have these little awakening moments. A little ding, 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 da. Where all of us are having that. All of us are having that because we do have a job to do. Whatever that may be. And your job could be to finally heal yourself completely. Completely. And love and care for yourself completely. And not in a prideful or shameful way. A lot of people get that confused in today's world, right? Your job could be to, and the reason why that might be your job is because if you do that, that's a full manifestation demonstration to other people that will see it. And then we say, thank you. Thank you to you for showing others that it can be done, right? We all, humans, man, whew, we don't want to talk about ego, beloved. Humans, they tend to see themselves with such grandiosity of they must write the next best American novel. They must do this. They must save 100 souls. They such grandiose aspects as to what their work here is to do. When your work is to live your life. Live your life. That's your work. Live your life. Do the best you can. Do a little bit better the next day, and the next day after that. Make right decisions in the moment. catch your thoughts so you can learn more about your consciousness and soul consciousness, right? We're here to live. That's your purpose. That's your job. Yeah. But I'm sure she's going to put a lot of sentences in about it. She's going to put a lot of sentences in. Thank you for sticking with it, folks, if you have been. And thank you for being in the chat. Um, if you've gone, bye, namaste. I'll see you later. Um, I'm going to read probably just a little bit more because I might have to read this privately to kind of get a handle on how she's just she's throwing everything on the page. I've never, oh man. I do want to say though, folks, even though I know myself and I would have been like, this project is way too big if I was this woman, I would have loved to have done it. I would have loved to have done it. Some of you might not know I actually have a writing degree. It's the only degree I have really is in writing. And so if somebody said, "Yeah, Courtney, take all of his readings and put them all in categories and break it all down." Oh my gosh, I would have, because I'm also I'm I'm a little bit of a, it's not a neat freak. I love organizing things. So I would have been like, yes, spreadsheets and boxes and all sorts of, however I would have organized it 5,000 times and then started writing it. Yeah, I'm a little bit like that. So I would have enjoyed doing this. So, hey, Institute, if you want to pay me a lot of money, I'll redo this book for you. If you want to pay me a lot of money, Uh, anyways, thank you. That was me kind of going off and having fun. Oh yeah. Yes. Teresa, if you have the same book, I sometimes I'm just jumping over words. I'm just doing the best I can because yeah, this is kind of written really poorly. Teresa, I believe, just picked this up, and there were a couple of others I think done by her as well. Yeah, I don't know if this is all her because like I said in the last video, it all of a sudden it felt like a different writer, so it might have been somebody on her team. I don't know, but yeah, this I would do a much better job, Institute. I would do a hell of a lot better job. Anyways, so we are at your soul mind record. Okay, we got that. So getting on. With the we're getting on with the work is the whole point of earth life. Learning to love is the work, and it's so difficult in earth. What better place to learn? Your task is to love as God loves, even those who call on other gods, and those who nurture satanic influences in direct opposition to the Christ consciousness, which is your awareness of your eventual destiny. Jesus Christ. Okay, so your job is to love, to learn how to love unconditionally, which there can be unconditional love. It is, takes a whole lot, folks, to get to it here in the 3D, but that is our job, really. Um, and to live life in hopes of learning how to love. And then she says, your task is to love as God loves, even those who call on other gods. So that's cool. Love everybody. And those who nurture satanic influences in direct opposition to the Christ consciousness. There's a comma there. But I'm going back. Guys, that even means, this is where people unsub from Courtney. That even means love the evil ones, love the bad guys. Yep, that even means being able to see the all and how all is connected, and and see the love that runs through the all, that does mean to love all of the corruption, all of it. It is almost impossible, but that is what we have to do. That is what we have to do. Be completely non-biased, neutral into experiencing things differently in order to be able to see differently, in order to be able to understand and know and see the all can enter into the ultimate love. It is direct opposition to the Christ consciousness, which is your awareness of your eventual destiny. I do want to go further. Of course, in this material, because Edgar was a Christian, and many of the people in the institute, they're all Christians. So a lot of the books refer to Christ, which is cool. That's awesome. Christ consciousness, groovy. Um, I want to say something about that though. So in the Bible, there's stories that we see Christ throw tables over in the synagogues, and we see him kind of go off of the mouth for a minute. You can see him, or they're telling you, right? Do not think it was because he did not love in that moment. Think that is all. That is all. Think of like tough love. And it tends to be, how many flippin' times do I gotta tell you people? Pay Caesar what is Caesar's, because it doesn't actually mean anything to what I'm trying to teach you. You see what I'm saying? There would be moments of tough love and frustration. He was here amongst us, right? Same with others. Same with many others, right? I'm so lucky. I have um, the place that I'm working in the evening, he's Islamic. I get to ask so many interesting questions now that I might not be able to find in a book. You have to actually talk to somebody that was raised in it, and I haven't had anybody since I moved down here. Now I got somebody every night that I'm like, what about this? What about that? I love it. I love it. I love it. I'm so excited about that. Um, but even with like Mohammed, all of them, it's out of frustration. It's out of that tough love. It's out of things like that. Do not mix up thinking that in those instances there was not love. There was always love with all of the ascended masters. Always. And it says, which is your awareness of your eventual destiny. And I'm going to pause there, because reading the next few lines, that's a whole different can of worms right there, folks. So we will come back to that next time. Oops, sorry, I touched the mic. We will come back to that next time. When it says Christ consciousness, which is your awareness of your eventual destiny, that can be many forms of concepts there. I personally take it as that higher consciousness, that consciousness that pause. I'm always saying I need my chart near me, and one day when I have more subs and I figure all this jazz out, I will actually put it together. But consciousness. Oh my goodness, my levels of consciousness chart. I swear, you guys, you can't be a patron or take a class with me that this does not come out. So, everybody's kind of down here in the 3D. When you move up and you move up and you move up and you move up, and I get this closer to the screen, do you see this inner love, this oneness and joy, peace, non duality? This is what I mean when you can love, when you can love everything and everyone, because there is no not there is no duality. Full awareness, the I am presence, the full higher consciousness. Look at these frequencies, folks. Look at these frequencies. So, this is what they're referencing as the Christ consciousness. The I am presence. The I am presence. I love it. That's why I have the patrons, and I reference it here a lot, to use your I am statements. If you want to be something, or if your soul consciousness, your soul mind has been like, knock, knock, you do have a job to do, knock, knock, but your 3D consciousness that is very limited is saying, oh, I don't know how I'm going to do that. I don't know how I'll achieve that. You know, the best way to start, hand to heart, I am whatever you're supposed to achieve. I am whatever you're supposed to be doing. I am whatever you want to receive. I am limitless. Right? So that, beautiful stars, is what they're kind of really referencing, that as your soul knows that that's the event. That is the mark. That is the mark to evolve, to have learned and grown and loved unconditionally to the point that you have achieved higher consciousness, even while 3D is still playing. Even though the tape of 3D is still going, still very present, you don't necessarily have to engage in it, right? There's a lot of things. We talk about that a lot here at Stars of Morning Light. I'm going to hold up my little... I found this... I don't know where I got this book. Once again, I'll read... we'll get back to this, the Bhagavad Gita. But when I was in here for you guys, this was like hanging out, my little bookmark here. So I'm holding this up for anybody who, so they can see it, right? And it says, my actions are my true blessings. They are grounded on which I stand. And it is the fifth remembrance. The reason I bring that up is because it doesn't matter ever what material we're working in. It doesn't matter if it's talking about Edgar Cayce, if we're in the Nagamati, if we're in the Bhagavad Gita, if we're in the Corpus Hermetica. It doesn't matter ever what material we may be in. And folks, I got a lot of material here. It doesn't matter. What matters is that they're all saying, remember. Remember. So if you get those little nudges that, oh, that's something else. I mean, I just did a video yesterday that I had said something reminded me of why I started this channel in the first place. Something reminded me. I knew exactly what that was. It was my soul. My soul said, Courtney, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Love. Love on all of it. Love on all. Good, bad, ugly, indifferent. Love on it entirely. Forgive yourself, for you know not what you do, Courtney. Love on it entirely. And remember why you started this in the first place. That was my soul. That was not my conscious of what I had been experiencing for a week. That was not. That was my soul reminding me, hey, that's not what you want to do here. You love all of them. The fifth remembrance. And then we put it into action. And then we put it into action. Whatever that action may look like. Whatever that action may look like. All right, folks. We'll get back to the Cayce. We will get back to the Cayce. I'm looking at my chat real quick. Oh, so abstract right below. I agree with you, abstract. I agree with you. So abstract in the chat, beloved abstract said, I am pure awareness in parentheses is the true self. If if anything is like added on, like how I said add on, that's ego. That is false self. So the reason, because beloved, I believe you. I agree with you. Um, it is very difficult for others to understand that. Um, because I am is the I am. I am. That's very, and it's extremely powerful, and it is the ultimate. It is the ultimate. It's the pure awareness, right? For people to start experiencing a little bit of something like that, we attach something to it. In my humble opinion, because we're trying to get people to that, right? We're trying to bring people to the light alignment that you are the great I am, right? All the stories, all the terms of the I am, the great I am, and how that's somehow separate from us. No, we are individual and collectively. I am. Period. Right? Period. But to get us to experience a little bit of it, just a little bit, just a little bit, and then experience a little bit more. Open up, open, open, open. Getting out of 3D, out, open. We do it, in my humble opinion, it helps to attach what you are, right? It's a practice people can use. That actually comes from the scene. This is not me. That actually comes from the scene, as to how us humans can use that as a practice to hopefully eventually fully become aware of the I am, right? That actually comes from the scene, and I was thinking of maybe doing the scene post Christmas. That's what I was thinking. Um, that's what I was thinking. I don't know, guys. Don't quote me on nothing right now. Who knows my schedule? So I love you all, and so beloved, I love when you make. I love when beloved shares because I do know what beloved's talking about, and beloved, it gives. Oh, you always give me an opportunity to even when we said, Christ consciousness is the sight, is the goal as to why we just keep coming back to this earth plane, this school of earth. Um, you just gave me an awesome way to explain it even further. Because Christ conscious did understand I am. Period. Same as it's finished, as he said on when he got stabbed. It's finished. It is equal to saying it is. It is. And so I know for me to try to drive that home, all I can do is so I can say things like, I am as you are as I am, it is as you are, it is as I am. to try to help people wrap their heads around, I am you, you are me. All that we see is made from we. So, there's your little riddle for the end of the day. I'll catch you guys later. I'm gonna tell you I'm glad I came on and was with you a little bit longer today because um I'm not gonna be here Friday. I need that time to prep for my students on Saturday. And so I wish you all joyous of luck and beautiful. Oh, thank you, beloved. Um, it's it's um uh it's great to be with you, and I will catch you on the flip side. Patrons, I will be with you on Sunday, and I'll be sending some emails out. And so spread the word, be good to one another, love, 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 even if you don't like what it looks like. Right? Bye, guys. Later.